Rap star Tupac Shakur died last night after a brief life in a rough business. He was 25.
And breaking in just the last hour, we are learning that Las Vegas police have searched a home in connection to the murder of Tupac.
The cops had no clue what they were about to uncover in Tupac's garage. When investigators finally busted open that locked door in February 1997, 5 long months after his murder, they thought they'd find the usual. A few luxury rides, maybe some studio gear, the kind of stuff you'd expect from one of the biggest rappers on the planet. But what they actually found? It flipped the whole story upside down. Inside that sealed garage sat something that didn't just shock detectives, it rewrote what the world thought it knew about Tupac Shakur. Hidden behind that locked door were signs of plans he'd kept secret from everyone, even those closest to him. Nobody saw this coming. The space had been locked tight since September 1996, frozen in legal chaos while Death Row Records, Tupac's family, and a mess of lawyers fought over control. A judge finally ordered the garage open just to take inventory. And when Detective Marcus Hendricks stepped inside, he instantly knew this wasn't just a celebrity's stash spot. Something felt off.
This is telling Bay News Now investigators this search involves Dwayne Davis, also known as Keef D. Davis speaking publicly about the night Tupac died in videos on YouTube and in a book.
This wasn't some flashy hangout full of fame trophies. It was built for business. The walls were soundproofed, the heavy-duty shelves lined both sides, and everything was perfectly labeled and dated like someone running a secret operation. And right there on the main workbench sat the real shocker. 3 thick black binders, each one stuffed with hundreds of pages that could blow open the truth about Tupac's mysterious final months. The first binder completely threw detectives off. It was packed with movie scripts, but not the kind Tupac had been hired to act in. These were films he was planning to direct himself.
He's the one who handed Orlando Anderson a gun, and subsequently that gun is used to shoot Tupac.
Inside were detailed production schedules, budget breakdowns, and casting notes, all written in his own handwriting. It was crystal clear. Tupac wasn't just playing around with Hollywood. He'd been studying the film game like a man getting ready to launch a whole new career. One script, titled Thug Angels, told the story of gang intervention and redemption. But here's the wild part. It wasn't just a movie idea. Attached to the script were full proposals for teaming up with real nonprofits, plus plans for community screenings where ticket sales would go straight back into youth programs in rough neighborhoods. Tupac wasn't just talking about change, he was building it. Then came the second binder, and this one hit way deeper. Page after page of financial records exposed where his money was truly going. And it wasn't on chains, cars, or wild parties like everyone assumed. The paperwork revealed regular payments to bail funds for young people locked up on minor charges. There were receipts showing he'd paid legal fees for struggling families who couldn't afford lawyers. Even wire transfers proved he'd quietly donated to literacy programs, mentorship projects, and community centers all across California. And here's the kicker. He never went public with any of it. No press releases, no flashy interviews, no credit-chasing headlines.
Speaking exclusively with paramedics in 2016.
We brought the gurney up, over, just pulled them out.
Pulled them out, and that's when, everybody was yelling, Tupac.
Tupac was doing real work behind the scenes, using his fame and fortune to lift others up while the world had no idea. It was pure, quiet generosity, real help for people who needed it most. One check for $50,000 went straight to a Watts literacy program, written just 3 days before Tupac boarded that fateful flight to Las Vegas. But it was the third binder that completely blew detectives away. Inside was proof of something that could have changed hip-hop history forever if Tupac had lived long enough to finish it. The paperwork showed he wasn't just dreaming, he was building his own record label, totally separate from Death Row. The corporate files, dated August 1996, proved he'd already registered the name Machiavelli Records, filed for trademark protection, and even started early talks with distributors who could push his albums without Suge Knight's involvement. This wasn't speculation. It was strategy.
In one of the most notorious cold case killings in modern American history, and this morning, the man known as Keefe D is breaking his silence from behind bars.
The business plans inside broke everything down. Tupac wanted to sign young, hungry artists and personally mentor them. He planned to build a full production house with in-house engineers, video directors, and producers, all under his own control. His vision went way beyond just his own music. He wanted to create a legacy that would outlive him. The message was crystal clear. Tupac was preparing to walk away from death row and do everything on his terms. And just when the cops thought they'd seen it all, they kept digging through the garage. And that's when they stumbled upon something else. A mysterious lockbox waiting to be opened. Hidden behind the filing cabinets sat a cold steel lockbox, sealed tight with a coated lock that no one had touched in months. When Tupac Shakur's lawyer finally handed detectives the combination, they cracked it open and froze at what was inside. Stacked neatly were mini DV tapes, each one labeled in marker with dates ranging from July to early September 1996. These weren't just recordings. They were personal messages. When the tapes were played back at the station, everyone in the room went silent. On screen sat Tupac, alone, speaking straight into the camera like he was keeping a private video diary. What he said on those tapes hit hard. You could feel it. Tupac wasn't the fiery, untouchable figure from his music videos. These recordings showed a man stripped down to his truth, someone who knew something bad was coming. His tone was calm but heavy, like he was carrying the weight of the world. He spoke about being drained, trapped inside the image the world had built for him, and knowing he couldn't keep living that way forever.
27 years old. I can tell you exactly why it happened. It's happened because of Keefe D running his mouth.
Tupac talked about wanting peace, about moving to Ghana to make films on Black history, telling real stories without Hollywood twisting them. He even mentioned writing a book on activism and political change, something that could guide young people who looked up to him. Then came the clip dated September 3rd, just 4 days before the Las Vegas shooting, and it was chilling. Tupac said he felt like he was living on borrowed time, not because of street beefs or rivals, but because life itself was spinning out of control. He admitted he didn't feel safe anymore, not in fame, not even in his own skin. Those tapes changed everything. They revealed a man trying to escape the very persona that made him famous. The so-called fearless thug was actually planning a whole new chapter, one rooted in truth, growth, and freedom from the chaos that surrounded him. The contrast on those tapes was jaw-dropping. Investigators realized they weren't just watching a superstar, they were witnessing a man desperate to escape, trapped between fame and freedom, trying to figure out how to walk away without destroying everything he'd built. But then,
he's openly saying that he's, a significant part of this whole murder. How many times are you going to go on TV and say that before somebody's going to have to take some sort of action?
Their attention shifted to the back of the garage, and what they found there made everything snap into terrifying focus. Parked on a hydraulic lift was a sleek black BMW 750IL, the exact same model Tupac was riding in the night he was gunned down in Las Vegas. Only this one was spotless, brand new, never driven, untouched by time. Registration papers showed Tupac had bought it just 3 weeks before his death. The detectives felt a chill. It was like they were staring at a ghost. Inside the workbench drawer, they found the car keys, right beside a folded handwritten note that read, "Exit plan, New York or Ghana, decide." That single line said it all. He wasn't just thinking about leaving, he was planning it. By October, when investigators opened the trunk of that BMW, the discovery sent shivers through the entire team. Inside were 2 large duffel bags, packed tight with things that made their blood run cold. 2 passports, one real, one fake, with a different name, $80,000 in cash vacuum sealed in plastic, international phone cards, and a handwritten list of contacts in Jamaica, Cuba, and several African countries. And it didn't stop there. Financial records revealed Tupac had been quietly converting assets into cash, moving money into offshore accounts completely out of death row's reach. Every single clue pointed to one chilling truth. Tupac wasn't preparing for another album or movie. He was preparing to disappear. Tupac Shakur wasn't just dreaming about leaving, he was planning to vanish. That black BMW wasn't just another luxury car, it was supposed to be his getaway vehicle. But what detectives found hidden under the driver's seat raised questions that still have no clear answers to this day. Tucked beneath the seat was a small leather journal, worn and creased like it had been opened 100 times. Inside were entries from the week before the shooting, and what Tupac wrote sent chills down the investigators' spines. He talked about feeling like he was being watched, certain that someone was tracking his every move and keeping tabs on what he was planning next. He even hinted at fears surrounding death row's criminal ties, writing that he felt he'd become a problem for powerful people who didn't want him breaking free. Then came the entry dated September 5th, just 2 days before his death. Tupac wrote about trying to back out of the Las Vegas trip, said he'd attempted to cancel multiple times, but pressure kept pulling him back in, even though his instincts were screaming not to go. And the final entry? It was dated the morning of September 7th, 1996.
They searched a home as part of their ongoing work to solve who killed the rapper and hip-hop icon.
The very day he was shot. Just one haunting line, written in Tupac's unmistakable handwriting. The final line in Tupac's journal hit like a punch to the gut. If tonight goes wrong, the BMW knows where to take them. Keys under the seat, package in the trunk, tell Mom I tried. Those words sent chills through everyone who read them. It sounded like Tupac had arranged for someone to use that BMW if things went south, maybe to help get his mother or family out of danger. But whoever that person was, they never came forward after the shooting. The car just sat, untouched, locked away in police evidence storage for years like a time capsule of unanswered questions. The discovery of that garage flipped the whole story of Tupac's final days upside down. He wasn't just some reckless artist living fast and waiting for the inevitable. He was a man planning for the future, setting up new moves, building a legit business empire, and protecting the people he loved in case everything fell apart. Every piece of it. The binders full of business plans, the personal video diaries, the secret BMW loaded with cash and passports, painted a version of Tupac the world had never seen. This wasn't the image of the fearless rapper who thrived on chaos. It was the portrait of someone trying to escape it. So what does it all really mean? Why did Tupac feel like he needed an escape plan in the first place? The evidence points to one truth. Tupac was stuck between two worlds. On one side was the legend he'd built, the fiery, unstoppable thug life icon that kept him famous and untouchable. On the other side was the man behind it all, exhausted, aware, and trapped in a lifestyle that was slowly eating him alive. The death row pressure, the tension, the danger, it wasn't just music drama anymore, it was survival. The pressure to stay the toughest, the most fearless, the one who never backed down, it was crushing him. Tupac was tired of living up to that image every single day. Deep down, he wanted something different, something real. He dreamed of transforming into a man who made films, built communities, and created something that would last. But the truth was, he didn't know how to make that shift without risking it all. The secret philanthropy showed the side of Tupac the world rarely saw, a man who genuinely cared about lifting people up. While the public saw the wild, rebellious rapper, behind the scenes he was quietly funding programs, helping families, and pushing for change. That wasn't just generosity, it was proof he wanted to rewrite his story. His plan for a new record label proved he understood the industry inside out, ready to build something independent and powerful. The video diaries revealed his true mindset, self-aware, reflective, and painfully honest. Not the reckless image the media had painted for years. And that BMW sitting in the shadows with its hidden exit plan showed he knew the danger was real and closing in fast. When investigators finally wrapped their report on everything found in that garage, they wrote one line that said it all. Tupac Shakur's death wasn't just the loss of a music legend, it was the loss of the man he was about to become. It wasn't just the death of an artist, it was the destruction of a transformation that could have changed hip-hop forever. Those binders, those tapes, that secret BMW, they weren't just random possessions. They were the blueprint for a second act, a brand new Tupac the world never got to see. A vision wiped out on a Las Vegas street, 5 months before anyone even knew he was planning it. That garage had been keeping Tupac's biggest secret locked away, his escape plan, his evolution, his shot at rewriting his legacy. And by the time the truth came out, it was already too late. Looking back now, after seeing everything investigators uncovered, it's impossible not to wonder. What if Tupac had made it to October? What if he'd actually followed through on that plan, driven that black BMW to the airport, and vanished into a new life in Ghana like he wrote about? What would hip-hop sound like today if he had lived long enough to create that next chapter? Because the night Tupac died in 1996, the world didn't just lose a rapper, it lost a revolutionary thinker, a visionary who was ready to flip the game upside down. Those duffel bags full of cash, those detailed binders, those tapes filled with raw honesty, they held possibilities that were buried too soon, locked away in a garage that was never meant to be found. If you were blown away by this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below. What do you think Tupac's future could have been if he had made his escape?